Hey guys, my name is Akia, and as you know, I'm from Thrive with Amazon. And if you noticed, I am black, a minority, and I am a female. And I noticed that usually you're used to seeing people who are usually white males or like IG models, but it's all good because we're all here to learn about dropshipping on Amazon. Don't forget that today in my videos, I'm going to be showing you somewhere throughout this video a secret item that sells really well that you can add to your store or be able to get an idea of the type of category you should maybe be looking in if you're dropshipping. Oh yeah. So today's common question is we're going to talk about how do you deal with out of stock. So this was a question from a subscriber, and she was like, but how do you deal with out of stocks? So first thing first is usually when people see out of stocks, they usually get thrown off because you're dropshipping on Amazon and you're like, okay, but what happens if it's out of stock since you're dropshipping and you don't even have the item in inventory? So I don't want you to forget about our secret item, and here it is. So one of the secret items that sold really well for me and currently still does is the cotton chair pads. And you can see the category that's in. So for chair pads, so hint, where places that you can look, more ideas that you can look. And of course, this is fulfilled by Amazon. So what this usually does is it rotates. So when they sell out, then you get buy box again. So then it kind of rotates. So you'll see sales rotating throughout the month, or every month or every few months with this. It does sell really well because it has really good reviews. So you'll see here for the most part it has 5 stars. And when you look at this, you can see that it's a ranking of 12,000. And I always tell people if you're selling an item, you want to find a rank that's as low as possible, but not too low. That's to the point where the pricing is so competitive, there's no profit. But you want a low enough 5-figure range so that way you can ensure to get some sales. And also, this item actually sold 52 times for me. And usually this ranges from like $5 to $7, depending on the taxes and stuff like that, in terms of profit. So you can kind of do the math of how much money you would make with this. And remember, you have multiple items like this that sell 50 times. So it's not only this one item, it's accumulation of multiple items. The good thing about this item too is that if you're low in capital, or meaning that like you only have $1,000 to spend on orders, this is really good because it's only $26 to purchase, and then on Amazon you would sell it for $38. So you could add it to the store once it becomes profitable again, or once they go out of stock. But this is a really good item to potentially add to your store, or just to get ideas from, so you can look in chair pads or kitchen and table linens, and you might most likely find items. I found that when I find a winning item in a certain category, usually I'll go back to that category, and it will do really well. So here's your secret item. Enjoy. When you see a out of stock item, usually what I do, first things first, is right away I would make a note in the out of stock notes in my Amazon orders. So the goal of this is I want to keep track of what I'm doing. I want to be able to know what emails I sent to which customer. I want to be able to keep track of everything. And after you see that you have made a note and you send the customer a template email, which would usually say something like, hey, the item is on back ordered, and currently our vendor is unable to fulfill it. So please send your cancellation. And I usually give them directions on how to do the cancellation. And usually it's all square, it's good. But not to worry, I will be showing you an example of my template and what I send to the customer, and you'll see it over here. This is usually the easy step. So if the customer decides, hey, okay, I agree, like the person's out of stock, so I'm just gonna cancel it for the seller, you have to make sure it says order cancellation request. And you'll usually see that in the subject line when the customer sends you an email. So here are some issues some customers might give you sometimes. Sometimes it could be a little of a pain, but it's not a huge deal at the same time. It's not the end of the world. So I've had customers where they actually refuse to cancel it, and they're like, I absolutely want the product. And you'll be like, okay, but it's out of stock. And they'd be like, no, I want the product. I'm going to show you an example of a customer like this. And so basically I sent out a cancellation request, and she refused to proceed to cancel it. And she's like, no, I want the item, you shouldn't be out of stock. So hold on. If a customer tells you, oh, you shouldn't be out of stock because you're on Amazon, the reality is that you could be buying anything from Walmart. You as a customer yourself could buy from Amazon, and sometimes even Amazon will tell you, hey, we're out of stock, and you'll have to wait a few months. But the thing is, what I always tell the customer, and you'll see in this example, is that you can't keep an order sitting too long. So you can't hold a customer's money in authorization for too long. Eventually, Amazon will cancel it if you're not going to fulfill it. Usually they say 30 days, but I've seen an order sit for like 2 months. What I usually tell the customer is I'll say, hey, if you want me to keep the order on file, I can, but once Amazon cancels it, that's it. And usually 9 out of 10, eventually the customer will come crawling back with their tail in between their legs, and then they'll cancel the order. And this is exactly the scenario that happened with this customer. But you have to remember, though you need to cancel an order, your goal is not to get the customer back. You want to try to avoid negative feedback. So you want to make the customer feel like you're trying, you're not bullshitting, and you're actually trying to wait for the vendor. Because some customers call it BS when you tell them it's out of stock, but really it is. But they feel like it's too generic, some email templates, and some customers are just not happy with it because they got a really good price. And it is what it is. So this is a big one. What on earth happens when you sell the item for too low? What happens when you sell a barbecue for $80 that was supposed to be $400? Yeah, of course that happened to me. So when this happens, most of the time you can't really, it's kind of hard because the customer will see the deal, and some customers get very emotional and they really want the item because they just got a barbecue, I'm just giving this as an example, for $80. So I'm gonna basically show you of a scenario that happened with me with a guy where I forgot what the item was, but I'm gonna show you an example of the message. And so basically I sold the item for a way lower price than it was supposed to be. I'm gonna cut in this video. And I just want to tell you a bit about the course because I've been getting questions on how to get started on dropshipping. And here is a good course that I created, a new completely course that's completely updated, and you'll be able to learn exactly how to dropship, how to find your items, how to properly price your items, how to look, where to look for your items, everything in the book to get started, to ensure your store is started the right way. Check this out.
Hey, so I just wanted to give like a quick blurb of what I currently do in Amazon, how much I've made in the past. And you'll see here it had multiple VAs, and this is all of May. And so you'll see one VA made about $200 because I think she was the money maker. And so I just wanted to show you guys, give transparency, especially with how much you can make with the course if you put in work. And you can see this person made $1,700 from VAs that I outsource. And this is all in May, by the way. So what I do is I separate each VA by how much they make, so I can keep track of how much they were returning investment. And you can see here that another VA did $1,000. Two VAs both did $1,700. So right away, that's $3,000 right there. This is $4,000. This VA did $4,700. So then that's about what, like $5,000. That was including that. And then you'll see here that she did $1,600, so then that's like 16, so that comes out to be like $7,000. And then there was more VAs, so then this added up to 8,000. So you can do the math yourself and see that it's still pretty good money. See, it's still going because I had a good multiple of VAs. So this is the potential you could make, and I just want to show transparency if you're interested in the course. And you can see here, this is all the breakdown of like the different videos I have. And I literally walk you through, and I'm always still adding videos, so it doesn't stop. So it's like a walkthrough of getting store set up, banking recommendations, getting ready to list. I show you everything. I break down everything here, and I'm always adding new stuff, so stay tuned to that. And I'm looking forward to you to join me in the course. All right, have a good day.
And what I did differently, because I noticed that when I sent the out of stock script, most of the time people did not want to cancel. And so what I did differently was this time I told the customer, hey, the item is back ordered. But what I'm going to do differently is I would tell them. So what I did differently was I told the customer, hey, the item is back ordered, but if you give me your phone number, wink, wink, I would be able to call you and let you know once the item is back in stock and honor the price. And usually the response might be, hey, like, why do I have to give you my phone number? Usually you don't have to respond because by then you cancel the order, and usually don't give you a negative feedback because in their mind, you will come back to them, which most of the time you won't because the item is too low to purchase. So what you have to do is it's just about learning how to talk to the customer and word it in a way that the customer won't get mad, but they feel like you'll eventually fulfill it. And if you're thinking, oh, this seems dishonest, all that stuff, think about it. Companies do this all the time. They give you generic messages and you're not necessarily scamming them or anything. You're basically telling the customer what they want to hear. And this happens all the time. I've seen it happen on Walmart where they sell it too low and then they cancel it. That's what I usually do in these scenarios to ensure that we're staying in good standing with the customer. The thing is, if a customer sends an order cancellation request, send them a confirmation telling them it was canceled. Because what I notice on Amazon, it's a lot of older people that order from Amazon. So yes, there's young people like us, but then there's a lot of an older crowd. And sometimes they don't realize that the item is canceled, or they can't tell, they don't know how to go to their My account, which is perfectly fine. And I think it's a good way to notify them so they're not like thinking you never canceled it or they never got their money back. So it's always a good idea to confirm it. And sometimes the customer respond and be like, hey, could you confirm the amount? Or they'll be like, hey, thank you so much. And they'll be really grateful. Sometimes they'll give you even great feedback. So I just wanted to put a disclaimer out there. Sometimes there's gonna be customers that are never pleased and they won't even bother responding, or they figure that they wanted the item, so then they would not respond, thinking that you're gonna keep the order there forever and ever and ever and ever, which is not the case. And so you just have to be ready for that. And if customers don't respond, then you send them an email stating them, hey, I canceled it, I haven't heard from you, and send them an email template, which is perfectly fine. But it's just notifying the customer if you're gonna cancel the item. Always just notify them, even if they don't respond. And you know what? Sometimes the email ends up in junk. All kind of stuff happens, guys. Like, everything happens in the book. Some customers don't check their emails, or it ends up in junk because they don't realize there's actually a messaging center. But you see where I'm going with this. Like, all kind of stuff happens. Different types of people with different tech abilities in terms of levels. So you just have to learn to adapt to those things. Never assume. So example, I remember I sold a patio and this patio ended up being out of stock. I ended up doing the order and then it was canceled. And so I kept on emailing the customer and I was like, hey, this item is out of stock. I just waited because the item, it had such a long due date. I was like, you know what, it's fine, just let it sit there. I haven't heard them respond, and it was such a big purchase. And then eventually, maybe a few weeks later, once the delivery date was expired, they started messaging me and they were like, hey, where's my table? So I responded and said, hey, I sent you an email already stating da-da-da-da-da, like it was out of stock, back ordered. And then they sent it again. They were like, hey, like, where's the patio? And then eventually I was like, I don't think they're getting my emails, because it seemed like there was a little bit of a disconnect. So when I saw that, I called them right away, and I've never seen someone so thankful to be able to get that. They're so thankful for me calling them, and they ended up buying an alternative that unfortunately I couldn't give, which is perfectly fine. But the main thing is making the customer happy. That is your goal. You want to always leave a good experience because you don't want negative feedback. You want to stay in good standing, and less stress for you, less stress for me. Everyone's happy. So that was one of the scenarios, and I'll definitely show you that example as well, and you'll see like the correspondence. But honestly, like, these stuff is just about like communicating and really coming across to the customer, showing that you are trying your best and making effort. Customers really appreciate that. I just want to make a note that when you want to cancel an order, this is how you will do it. So you basically highlight the address, and then you would then put the address in the notes Then after, you would then cancel the order, and that's it. You let it load, that's it, and the order is canceled. But always just make sure that you notify the customer, and you'll see me doing this here, and I will send the email to the customer, and that's the steps. That's all you need to do. As always, let me know if you have any questions and down below, and as always, I'll host it in a feature video. And because I love your guys' questions and it helps everyone else, and most likely if you have a question, someone else does too. Please don't be shy. So this is the end of how to deal with out of stocks, and hopefully you've learned a lot and you'll be able to apply it to your store and use these techniques to make your customers happy. And again, head to thrivewithamazon.com or comment below if you have any questions. Have a good day, guys.